alaikum, peace and blessings. Welcome to Modest Beauty Podcast. I'm your host, Khalida the Model. Today's special guest is CEO of the Black Box Collection, Taqwa Hasan. Her love and passion for the art of fashion design led her in receiving her bachelor's degree in fashion merchandising from Wayne State University in 2006. Her unique and eclectic style developed from her diverse upbringing and from attending El Ikhlas Training Academy in Detroit, Michigan. That allowed her to analyze the beauty of other cultures, prints, fabrics, and aesthetics, helping to shape the Black Box Collection. Taqwa will explain the Black Box Collection a little bit later and the rebirth of the company. When Taqwa isn't designing or creating and being the CEO of this amazing company, she spends time with her family, out in nature, or attending and planning community events. Assalamu alaikum, Taqwa. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, and I'm glad to have you here.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you, Khalida. I am so honored to be here with you today, and I'm looking forward to our little chat.
Yeah. So let's begin with you explaining what the Black Box Collection is, when you started, and how you got started.
Okay, well, first of all, like I said, I majored in fashion merchandising. So originally, I still have a love for fashion, not just jewelry. But the Black Box Collection is handcrafted jewelry and accessories line for women. I have added a couple of pieces in the past that were clothing items as well, but it's majority accessories. So I like to do unique, handcrafted, eclectic accessories. I like to kind of mix the prints and the patterns, just taking inspiration from different cultures and different places. Yeah, I love that. So I love like unique, intimate little boutique type of shop. So that's kind of where that came from, and travel.
And I think I actually saw it on Instagram, where I saw one time, I think it was a belt. And that's when I first commented on it. I was like, wow, this is pretty. But then other things started showing up, and all your jewelry and accessories. And then we'll get into that, the collar. I don't want to say that now, but just all of it, it was so nice. And I was like, okay, so we have got to look at her and her company and where she is. Were you always an entrepreneur?
You know, I haven't really worked. So I guess I have been. I worked my first job, I think, was at CBS, and I really didn't like working, and probably because I've been kind of like a behind the scenes introvert. So I never worked at a job that I love. I did teach in the past, which I love teaching and substituting too. But as far as like just working, I would say that yeah, I have been more into entrepreneurship. Like I love it. You know, like me and my sisters, we've started another business, and then we're just kind of like, we'll flip ideas around every day. So it's just, yeah, I really do love entrepreneurship. Now that I'm in it.
So it really wasn't your first career. That was not your first career.
No, but then I really didn't, because once I graduated from high school, I think, and that was even before I graduated from college, I worked at CBS for a little bit. As far as the hours and scheduling, I just, you know, I like to be able to kind of set my own hours and things. So early on, I kind of knew like, okay, it has to be something I really, really love to do. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't do it. So after that, though, you know, I got married. I had a daughter at the time. So then I did start teaching a little bit at the Muslim school that I went to here, and I would substitute. Other than that, though, you know, it's just been this. It's just been me, entrepreneur. I have a little boy's clothing line too. So I was working on that before the Black Box Collection started.
Wow. Okay. So that's some news, because, you know, I have all boys. I have 3 boys. 2 of my boys are older, but I still have a younger son. And that's something we don't normally find. Women, or even designers designing for boys. And now that is something that, wow, I'm learning this now. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I have a son. Well, he's 13 now, but
okay,
I have
mine is 10.
a lot Oh, okay. I have a lot of nephews down here too. So, and I know even when my daughter was younger, I would sew different clothes and things for her. And
Mhm.
sometimes you go to the store, we know it's easy to find stuff, nice little cute stuff for girls. But
Yes.
sometimes for boys, you wouldn't so much. And
Nope.
then I think that, I like details on stuff. So I like t-shirts, but I like the mandarin collars. I like the little
Mhm.
details for the shoulders. So I
Mhm.
like things like that even in boys' clothes. But originally how that even started was because when I was going through college, I kind of felt like I went through my phases actually in the fashion design field.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even when I graduated high school, I kind of felt like, should I go into this? Back then, it wasn't a lot of, and I graduated from high school in 1998. So it
Mm.
wasn't a lot of, it wasn't a lot of designers out there to me like that. And now
Mhm.
with the internet, people can push and sell their things a little bit more. But back then, I kind of felt like, is it more better? Like, should I go in the science field? And I don't know why I felt that pressure to kind of do something different, but I really had a passion for fashion.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it was like, how some people consider certain fields more like,
Mhm.
so I think I struggled with that. And I struggled with that early on in college. Eventually I did just go ahead and go through with it. But when I got into my major and some of the different classes, even in the fashion, a lot of the things is like child labor and different, some things seemed a
Mm.
little bit superficial for me, and that
Right. Right.
off. And
Right.
then I just kind of felt like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like I wanted to, and I didn't know if this is really what I was, giving to the world. Is it fashion? Is this it? But that's all I had really loved or whatever. So when I started the boys clothing line, the name of that is called Falah, which means success. And my
Uh-huh.
mind is, in a world where boys will be boys, we are encouraging them to be brilliant. So I kind of mix, different styles in the t-shirt sayings, but educational ones. So that way I can still kind of get that message out there, but
Mhm.
I still feel, comfortable, so to speak. But now
Well,
it's different.
well, no, that's good because I mean, it's. Do you have a website for the boys collection, or is it part of your collection? Of course, at the end we'll get websites and everything. But do you have something somewhere so people can see what you have, or order or something?
I do have a website for the boys line, and I actually have an Instagram page, which I'm about to start really revamping up even for the spring.
Okay.
When I started the jewelry, that kind of slowed slightly, but I want to kind of get back in there. So I will be releasing new items even for that.
Nice, nice. So let me ask you this: did the pandemic help you catapult your black box collection? That idea?
I think it did because it kind of sits you down a little bit. Well, it sit everybody down.
Yes,
So
it did.
it made you kind of, just really focus in on your likes, dislikes. And I know I was probably on the internet a little bit more, seeing different things, seeing how businesses are promoting. So I think it made me get a little bit more serious. I mean, and you had a little bit more time, I guess, actually to even do certain things. So, I mean, I will say it definitely helped, even though
Mhm.
I was a little bit skeptical. I'm like, well, is people really buying? That was the only thing, because it's like, well, people aren't really going places. So I wonder how well are they really buying extra accessories and different things like
Mm,
this to wear. So I thought
mm.
about that, but I mean, I still continue to just do it and promote because people at least, still wanted to plan and hopefully been able to get out and go different places.
No, that's good. Um, did matter of fact, I mean, like you said, the pandemic actually slowed everybody down, so that helped. But your inspirations, where did all your inspirations develop for the Black Box collection? I know in your bio you said that looking at different cultures, prints and fabrics and patterns, and just your upbringing, the way you were around just the different types of cultures that helped you. But what also inspired? I mean, you've got belts, jewelry. I'm just gonna say collars, just gorgeous, gorgeous things that are very unique. I mean, that was probably, I think, one of the questions that I asked about was the products, what made you so unique. But what inspired that for you?
I mean, I definitely would say like the upbringing, like I grew up in a very diverse school. So I, was able to see firsthand some of the fabrics and, just the cultural items of other cultures, but also just traveling, even though I haven't traveled a lot as much as I want to, but I have always had a passion for wanting to travel, wanting to explore nature. So just really like a mixture of those type of things, I think, really kind of influenced it. And I do like to make unique things. And I think sometimes that's a little hard for me because sometimes people make things and then it's like, okay, well, these are selling, so let me kind of get on this bandwagon. But I'm kind of like, well, no, how can I still do it a little bit different and tweak it? So I really do like to make unique things. I'm a big thrift store finder too, or a thrift shopper too. So I like to find different pieces that I'm okay, well, nobody may not have this because it's a thrift store. You find different pieces. So I've always kind of been like that. So.
Have your priorities changed since you first started? And if they have, how so? Meaning your priorities with just developing everything, maybe, and now your men's or boys clothing line, have your priorities changed? And I see that you're still, in fact, I see you still passionate about it. Because if you weren't passionate about it, you wouldn't keep going.
Yeah, you have to be passionate about, what it. No, so I am. I mean, it's tricky because I think that nowadays, even with business, you have to be out there more and you have to kind of put yourself out there more. So I know for me, that's been a little bit of a struggle because I'm not really like a picture person all the time. Like I'm just never, I've always been a behind the scenes. Like I would sit and I would watch Fashion File, the British Blog. Growing up as a young child, I would sit and watch those things. I would look at magazines. I was an editorial girl. So I like to create the things, but getting out there is it's been a little bit tougher. So I think that has kind of made me some days, but it's like, no, you got to do it. Just get out there and push yourself to get out there. So that's been a little bit of struggle, but the priorities they are still pretty much the same. I do see my line going towards more. I really like resort wear a little bit better. So I really see some of my pieces going in that direction too also. Yeah, but overall, it's still the same. Even with the boys, it's definitely the same.
So knowing what you know now and understanding the steps that you've taken, is there anything you would have done differently to get to where you are now?
I probably would have started doing more of the pushing more of the social media side early on. I think it took me a while to kind of step outside of that box to kind of get in front of the camera. So I would say that would be a little bit different. Also, just, it's always good to get as much information and knowledge as you can up front. So definitely as far as jewelry, I do plan on taking some upcoming jewelry classes because I never really took jewelry classes. I knew how to sew and different things. So I think it was easy for me to incorporate sewing and different stuff and fabrics. But as far as like formal jewelry classes, I haven't, so things like that is something I maybe would have done up front.
If people see your, what I see, those of us who aren't crafty, those of us who do not sew, those of us who are not creative, I can't tell that. And I'm sure the other people cannot tell as well, that you don't have that formal, as you said, the formal background. But at the same time, the stuff is just beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's eclectic. It's nice, mashallah. So I look at that to say that your passion does drive you. And for you to get out there, another suggestion I was going to say, find somebody, maybe some of the younger sisters in the community, or if you have a younger sister, and if you don't want to be out there, although you're beautiful, when I see you modeling your pieces on Instagram, you do a wonderful job. But if you don't feel like, alhamdulillah, if you don't feel like you are able to do that and continue to push it, find one of the younger girls or somebody who will love to do it, because there are plenty.
No, there are, and that is the next step. It's just a matter of, and I was okay, Taqwa, just put it out there, because it's just a matter of really doing that. Like I have a space here that I can even take photo shoots in, so that wouldn't be a problem. But no, that is, and I do love photo shoots, but outside of those, even just on an everyday, I probably could get somebody to just say, oh, okay, can you take a few shots in the collar? You can keep the collar and something like that. So that is something I'm definitely working on, because I know that is something my page, I think, is lacking. I think people do need to see it in a lot of different ways and a lot of styles. And even for me, that's why I would rather find somebody else, because I can visualize the image that I want, like say around this collar on somebody else. Putting it on myself, I wouldn't really do it justice to really pull it off. Like I know, because I know myself, it's just kind
Right.
of like, oh, I'm extra critical, and I probably wouldn't. So it's easier if I could find somebody.
I do have another suggestion. I always come up with these suggestions. We have also, I mean, celebrities, yeah, people in the fashion industry, people in the entertainment industry, just ladies out there who would probably love to have your things on them while they're out there promoting. And that's another way to get your line out there, because they are unique and there are plenty of ladies. I mean, just mentioning people in the industry now and people who are in the media now, if you reach out to them, because I know there are people reaching out to them, asking them, let me make something for you, let me give it to you. And when you give it to them, they will probably more than likely wear it because it is something different and they are promoting. So, I mean, that's just another suggestion.
No, and that's good, because that's definitely something I've thought about. I even looked up like a script, like I probably just need to, figure out and get out of my own head and just figure out, okay, what's the best wording to kind of just approach people and just kind of, oh, okay, if I want to sing it. So I've kind of been back and forth with that, because no, I do think that definitely would, it would help.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem. So what challenges did you face at the beginning of your journey? Besides the ones, my earring, besides the ones that that keeps you from trying to get to where you need to be?
I definitely would say finances for one has been, that's always an issue. And also I think at first too, like I say, since I mentioned about the jury,
Mhm.
not having like a formal training. So sometimes you're not as confident. And I'm kind of like, if I
Mhm.
put it out there, I really want it to be, if you're selling something, you really want to make sure it's crafted right and different.
Yes.
So I think it took me a while to get past that, but I really learned it's okay, you just got to educate yourself to get
Mhm.
past that. Look up and see what's the best way to do this. So once I kind of started doing that and got the hang of it, just finding information out about it, or if I'm trying to do this or that, this is the best way to do it.
Mhm.
Then at some point you just got to say bismillah and put it out, make sure that you're doing it the way it's supposed to be. But I think that kind of helped me a lot at the beginning.
So what do you still face? I mean, like you said, finances. Are there
Right.
any other challenges, being Muslim, being African American? I mean, you're out in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
So you probably don't have the problems that some of us or other people in other areas might have, because you do have a large Muslim following out there.
Right. Yeah, it is a large Muslim community. It's very diverse,
Mm.
um, which is good. I mean, I will say, now I do have questions sometimes about, even as far as like, since my things are accessories, even as far as models, because it's like I do want to make sure that it's represented, right? Even
Mm.
though, I mean,
That makes
I think
sense.
sometimes people get mixed up, even as far as, because I know at first when I were making, I think they were headbands or headpieces, and I know some people kind of had, a couple of people had an issue with that in the past, and my thing has always been, at the end of the day, even Muslim sisters, we dress up still. We have opportunities where we can dress up, where, if we're at, I know down here, we have, Eid parties and Eid
Yes.
celebrations, or there's
Yes.
weddings, so even outside of the scarves and things, we still can dress up. Or even if you're at home, I mean, if you're married, you can dress up. So,
Right.
um, but sometimes I struggle with okay, well, how am I going to market this? Because, I mean, am I showing it where it's, like covered that way? But then the jury is a little different. And that's more so when I was dealing with the little clothes at first. I kind of struggled
Mm.
with what type of things to really put out there. But I don't know, as far as the marketing now, I think it's a little easier. I mean, it is jury, but
Yeah. But you know what? We too, as African American Muslims, we have a whole different style, so and I would think whatever you like, and you wear it, somebody else is going, ooh, that's lovely. And if they are African American, then great, but if they're not and they still love it, that's a bonus.
Right.
I would go ahead and just like, I don't know the headband. I don't think I saw the headband, but I'm already loving it. I'm already loving it. I like different things. I'm a hat wearer. I wear my scarf so many different ways. There's just so many different accessories you can add to your scarves. And yeah, so.
But no, and that is true. I think that now, even in Michigan, I think we've come to a point where it is very diverse. Because I remember growing up though, down here, and I know different cities may be different. I think it was kind of like this way where you thought, okay, well, this is more of the Islamic look to wear it. So I think back then a little bit, people kind of battled that a little bit because you go in circles like, okay, well, wear the scarf down and this is the way it's supposed to be, and the earrings shouldn't show and different things like that. So it's just getting past even all of that type of issue. And now, like I say, it's more diverse now than it used to be, but I know that was kind of a struggle. And sometimes people won't say it, but it was kind of even the way people made you feel or the look. So it's just kind of like realizing that, Islam is beautiful. It's plenty of different cultures. There's plenty of different ways to represent it. It's not, everybody don't have to wear it. Like, as long as you're modest and the other areas are covered,
right.
Style it how you want,
there you go.
Style
it. And it's so funny because you were right. All these other companies that are out here that are Muslim companies that are selling scarves, not everybody's going to wear that scarf the same way. They might add 2 or 3 scarves and make it into a tie, or add 3 scarves and make it into a wrap. I mean, there are so many different ways and different cultures. You got the Indonesian culture, you got the African culture, you got the Arab culture, you got all these different cultures that take a scarf and wear it. You have Muslims in Europe, that have their European culture that is immersed in Islam. You know what I mean? So that's nice to know and see people using the scarf a different way, or their headdress a different way.
Because it makes it unique. I mean, we are supposed to be learning from one another, so it definitely makes it unique. I know the Atlanta community, I think I've been there for one of their big fashion shows that they had.
Yes.
It was really nice. And they do, so they style,
yes. They style. And New York was the same way. All the sisters from New York and New Jersey, the same thing. Like those fashion shows that I attended as a kid was the same way. Because they had to always add a headdress, because coming into Islam, those who reverted to Islam or came into Islam, they would always have to have something to go along with that outfit. So it made it even more stylish and more, like you said, a design, because they had to put it together.
You got to kind of think outside of the box, which is good because it challenges you to be, more creative.
That's
a lot of
right.
And really, and I think even as far as clothes, it challenges you to maybe even put more details or put more, depending on which fabrics you're going to use, as opposed to just, dressing and not having to cover up so much. So it's kind of like, well, you may not just want just like a bio all the time.
Right.
So it kind of challenged you to, okay, how can I really do these designs and make them modest and creative?
That's right. What inspired you to create the collar? And do you have a collar on you to show, or no?
I know I have one right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you see these collars, they're just gorgeous. I love collars. They're so nice.
Okay, so this is one of the collars.
Yes. Is that kente cloth? Not kente cloth. Is that a mud cloth or something?
This is not but it's like a mud cloth fabric. So it's not as heavy as the thick mud cloth. Now the open belts, I do use it was the actual mud cloth on some of those, the belts. But this is like a fabric that's inspired by like a mud cloth print. So this is one of the ones, and then this is another one.
So what inspired you to make those? Those are gorgeous. I love the pleating. I mean, did you want to cover up your neck? Did you want to, there was a low, like a plunging neckline, or because see, that's what I'm thinking, like, oh yes, I can have that to cover up my jacket, or just wear the jacket.
You know what? I think it really pretty much just grew out of me trying to do neck pieces that were a little different. And I always try to incorporate more fabric sometimes if I can, only because I have more of a sewing background. So it's easy for me to make accessories sometimes and you don't find a lot of jewelry designs will have mixed fabric. And I really like the boutiques and the different cloths. So I think for me, that was more so the reason. And I'll be trying to think outside about, okay, let me design something different. But I know a lot of people, like you say, it is good because some people that do wear the necks. Or I know one sister, she mentioned about, you know, she wears the turbans up. So it would be perfect, you know, for her with the neck is covered. And then, now that after I've done them, I've found more reasons to, you know, really like them because you can, like you say, depending on how the neck is. You don't want to do the turtleneck, you know, these can come up pretty high and, you know, like you can.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Style it.
So, I mean, they are fun to make. And actually, they're one of the easier items, even for me to do or to make.
And those are your most recent ones, right?
Yes, these are most recent.
And do you find that they're selling faster than what your original belts or other accessories were?
It's pretty much the same. A lot of people have commented on these, but I think market, I'm still trying to kind of actually reach my market, who I think are the people that are really, because I do think a lot of people like them. Now, price point sometimes for some people is maybe like, but it's kind of like, I know how much the fabric costs, I know how much the labor went into it.
Right.
Price, but I do think that, because for some people they've commented, but then it was like, oh, but the price, and so they probably so similar. But I do think though those photo shoots and just having more people in them would definitely help though too. Absolutely. So I do think that kind of affected it a little bit. So that's what I'm kind of working on more so now.
Good. What do you find most enjoyable about the whole process? I mean, your business, the black box creation, I mean, collection, your just creative thought. What do you find most enjoyable?
Definitely the design process.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And it's because the process can take a long time for me. I'm one of those, not a perfectionist. It has to be right to the point where I'm like, okay, that's it. If it's still something in me where it's still like, oh, something needs to be changed or this color needs to go here, that can take a long time. And that can actually get me like,
stuck.
That's because I feel like I'm moving too slow.
Right.
But still the design process. I love to design even more so. I mean, I don't mind making them, but of course, if I could just design things all day, that's kind of really what I would want to do.
Well, that might be good.
No, I mean, and just being able to kind of come up with different color schemes and different patterns and different fabrics. I mean, I like that whole creative process.
And I'm sure a lot of other people do too, because that is the fun part. And then when we have to get down to the nitty gritty or the business aspect of it, then it gets a little bit harder, and we start to kind of hide and shy away from it. But you know what? I think people always told me, because I don't have the design background. I didn't get that creative gene. My sister did, but I didn't. And I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to do any of it. But my little stick people and my little ideas that I have, I was told to get a book and just throw it all in. And a lot of the aunties in the community say, you know, to do this because they too have all these ideas. And if you have them up here and you don't put them down on paper or somehow, right. And then especially when you keep going back to them, that's the one that you should really get out, you know, quickly. And you may even change it.
Right. No, that does make sense. Because I do write some designs or sketch them down, and then I can't always go back and, okay, well, I need something. Let me look at that. But the ones you keep going back to, like you say, are the ones that you know, like, okay, I need to do this. So,
yeah. So besides the collars, what are you working on now? And what should our audience look for in the coming year or in the coming years?
Well, right now I am working on, I will be doing a couple of photo shoots coming up. So, and I'm definitely will be doing some other pieces for Eid, around the Eid time.
Yeah.
So even it'll be collars, but it'll even be dressier ones. The fabric will be a little bit different, but it'll be, you know, just a mix and match of different dressier styles. And then also the long necklaces, I'm getting back into. I really like to do those, partly too because I know for sisters that drape their scarf here, you know, it kind of hangs a little bit under it sometimes. So I'm definitely going to be working on, you know, a mixture of those. also, I would love to, my goal is to even get into a little bit of home decor, because I want
Oh,
more like a lifestyle brand, where
yes.
pillows, maybe wall art, but still with the
Mhm.
same type of eclectic aesthetic. Because that's my overall goal, to have just like a specialty store where you can kind
Mhm.
of come and find really unique gifts and different
Mm.
things like that.
Mm.
So that's another part of the Black Box collection that I plan on adding on, which I haven't had a chance to really just focus in on that yet, but that'll be coming up. And then, like I say, the boys line, my Fala Boys line, I will be kind of relaunching that in the spring as well.
Good, good. And so how can our viewers and listeners find you and your business? Do you have a website? Can you spell it out for us? I know your Instagram page, but how can our viewers and listeners find you?
Uh, I do have a website. It's www. The Black Box BLACKBOX collection.com. So that's the website. And for my boys, which I'm actually gonna switch that website, so I won't get that, but I do have a page, Fala Boys Apparel, and that's on Instagram. So it's FALAHBOYSAPPAREL.
Mhm. What sizes are they going from? From like 5 or 6 year olds or older?
Yeah, well, I start at probably about 6 months, because I had some
Oh,
onesies design. So I started at 6 months, and it kind of goes up until maybe 12. I may increase it a little bit. I know my son is 13 now. He can't fit in any of it. Um, so I don't know. Right now, it's probably about 6 months to 12. But I will see, I may start adding a couple of larger sizes, because sometimes people will ask for like 14 and 15-year-old boys.
Mhm, mhm.
And I may have a few clothing items too, actually, with the Black Box collection. I really love to
Ooh,
do maybe even just caftan styles,
uh-huh.
kind of like similar resort wear, or just kind of like the breezy,
S-
breezy
s-
type of one piece.
and simple and very, like you said, airy like, and
Right,
just light fabric. It moves and flows with you. That's elegant.
right. No, definitely.
That's beautiful. That's really nice.
So that's so far. That's what I have coming up.
Nice, nice. So, what's the one piece of advice you would like to leave our listeners and viewers with today? Just with the whole process. It could be being an
Right.
entrepreneur, just developing your brand and your ideas, creativity, anything that you would like to leave someone with. But not that you
Um,
haven't dropped gems, because you were dropping them
right.
earlier.
No, I would definitely say, just sometimes you got to get out of your own way with things. I would definitely say that. I would definitely say that if these past few years in the pandemic, if it's showing us anything, it's really showed us that time is limited. Like
Mm,
I mean, you never know. And it's like, if you have these ideas and different things that you want to do, if you have different passions and different things that you think you were called to do, that you want to
mm,
get out there, you know, it's just like, go ahead and do it, because
mhm.
life is not promised. And
No.
while we're here, we want to take advantage of what we have, and take advantage of the people in our lives, but we do want to, be able to, see out the things that we have in our head. I mean, it's a beautiful feeling when you have ideas and then you see it manifest. So even the whole entrepreneurship, part, that can be a little hard sometimes, because you do have to push yourself. It's not like
Mm,
a 9 to 5, it's
mm-mm.
after hours. So that can be a little tricky too. But I know
That's
one thing
right.
I always say is, you get what you strive for, as I said. So I tell myself that sometimes when I get like, but it's like, okay, but what do you really want? I mean, Black Box, like I said, I love designing and it's a passion of mine, but I will say that outside of that, I
Mm,
think God has given me, okay, this gift to get to other places that I'm trying to get to. And that's being in a
mm,
position to really just help people. I really want to be, how you make money, and I really want to be able to help. I want to be able to help other sisters in the community. I do a lot of
mm,
community work, so I'm very active and passionate about, building things for the community and businesses.
mm,
So
mm,
this is allowing me this tool to be able to do that,
mhm, mhm. I mean, even in this platform, that's why I really wanted you on, because there are several sisters and even younger sisters, older sisters, all of us who are saying, how did she get started? How does she get her things out there? To me, it's already out there. I know you still have a lot of back end work that you're doing. You're still developing things, but when you have at least a product out there, you're promoting it, you're selling it. We need to know how it was to get there, and the struggles and the things you have to do. Like you said, it takes us a lot sometimes just to figure out what we exactly want to do. And we have to step back, and we can only take little chunks sometimes. Sometimes we want to overwhelm ourselves and put everything on because we got to do this, we got to do this. Oh my goodness, this has to be out. We have to market it. We have all this stuff that we need to do, but we don't realize that when other people say it, we need to take our time, and we have to put out certain things at a certain time.
No, and that's true. And I will say, even with that, as far as if you're starting off and you're trying to put things out, because a lot of times sometimes you may think like, oh, a website, it needs to be filled up with all these different things. And that may stop you, where really sometimes you can start off nowadays with the internet and how Instagram is. I mean, you may start off with 1 or 2 designs and start slow and just put those out like that. And just see what happens from there. You may not even have a number of products, but I know sometimes that'll stop people too from moving ahead.
Oh yeah.
No, so I definitely would, just want to leave that. And like you say, constant, make dua, ask, Allah to bless you to, to be with you and just to continue to guide you and get up, that Istikhara prayer and, Istikhara, Tahajjud, and just try to make that. And, ask him to guide you along the way. And whatever what's meant for you is what you're going to get. If it's not meant,
that's for sure.
I would rather at least have tried it.
That's right. I was just going to say that at least you tried, at least you made an effort to do it. At least you put yourself out there. Now you could keep struggling and struggling and struggling, but if it's not meant for you, it's just not going to be meant for you. Or we might find too that it opened up another door.
Right? No, that's
opened up another door.
You never know where it'll lead you. So
no, absolutely not.
Right.
I appreciate it. This is lovely. I loved having you on. I really appreciate you sharing Black Box Collection with us. I really wish you the best, the most success, mashallah, that Allah will bring to you, that you will bring as well. Keep making those tahajjud prayers and your duas, and inshallah, it will just flourish. Thank you for joining us, and we would like to say goodbye to Taqwa. Hasan, be fashionable, be trendy, and most of all, be modest. Thank you.